a 16-year-old son who has an incredible eye for things that he finds to be artistic or creative. We just got a house that's 100 years old and we're restoring it. And upstairs in the bathroom, he found this old mirror and he said, "Mom, I love this mirror and I want to use it in my bathroom," because we're all about restoring and not buying anything new. He said, "But I wish you could do like your thing that you do, and I want a bird in my mirror." A bird in your mirror. "Yeah, Mom, you'll figure out a way." And darn it, I think I have. So this is for Nicholas. I'm gonna put a bird in your mirror. So the idea is to take this old, and it's dirty and it's funky and it's cracked and it's a bad old mirror, but I love it. So what we're gonna do is take off a little of the backing of the mirror, actually remove some of the reflective surface. Then we're gonna put a bird drawing that I guess I'm gonna do right now into this mirror. I'm gonna take you through this whole project from start to finish. So I'll show you how to draw it. If you want to do it, feel free. I'm using watercolor pencils. Then we're going to scan it, put it in the computer, print it, and apply it to the inside of a mirror. So join me, come on. So far, I've just drawn the outline of the bird. We have to come up with a name for it. And what really hits me is when I'm about to create something artistic, when I'm trying to come up with something that touches me or moves me creatively, I try to notice what I notice. I don't know if that makes any sense, but when I walk into my house in the morning, when I walk out to get the paper, I notice what I notice. Do I see a certain color green in the leaves? Do I notice the snail patterns on the sidewalk? What is going to strike me today that's going to give me an opportunity to notice something that is an artistic pattern or a creative way that things move, or just the way the light hits the shiny snail pattern? And how am I going to use that in my art today? So for Nicholas, who continually inspires, here's a snail pattern for you, used in a bird. When I was in art school, I had a teacher who harped on us about how to hold a pencil. And this is how to hold a pencil. And I thought, that is crazy. It doesn't work, it feels really awkward. But now that I've begun to practice holding my pencil like this now for 20 years, it's second nature. And it gives you so much more control when you've got all your fingers giving tension to the pencil. You can use all your dexterity to give you a better hand when you're drawing. So even if it's uncomfortable or feels weird, if you want to start drawing, make sure that you hold your pencil in this very curious way, even if you just doodle, and see if it gives you a different experience with the paper and the pencil. What I'm using are watercolor pencils, which when you put them down initially, just have a very kind of grainy pattern on this watercolor paper, which it's supposed to be. And then what I'm going to do later is take a water brush and it blends the color, which is the, pièce de résistance of the project. When unnamed bird here is all finished and I've got it ready to print, I'll give you a copy on my website. So you'll be able to download it yourself. And if you want to make this project, or even use it to make something different, which you can show me on Pinterest, I would love to see if you can come up with something else to do with it. So feel free. I'll give it to you in a download. And if you can come up with a really good name for this beautiful little bird, let me know. Be interested. Now that I've finished the rough drawing, the part where I just take the watercolor pencils and put it on this nice rough texture watercolor paper, I have this special pen that I love, and it has no ink in it. It just has water in it. So there's this little water well, a sponge, and out comes water, and it blends beautifully this watercolor pencil. This is the fun part. This is a small one, and then I got a brand new large one today, and you just open it up, and there's this little hole. You stick it in water, and it sucks up the water. You screw it back together, squeeze it a little bit so that the brushes get the water in them, and you've got this constantly wet paintbrush. This pen is so cool. You're going to want a large one, a medium one, a small one of your very own. And I will give you information on my website where to get one, because this, primo. All right, now I'm going to show you how it blends this watercolor pencil, takes it to a whole new level. The water, blending that watercolor, because all you've basically done is put down pigment, it intensifies that color in the most fantastic way. So I'm going to give him a nice little eyeball, accent his neck a little bit, and then he'll be ready to scan to the computer, print out, and then I'm going to show you how to put it into the back of an old mirror so that you're mixing reflection and an artistic element. So the bird is finished. I'm going to go scan it, add some background, add some really cool elements, and then we'll print it out. And again, you can download this from my website, so I'd love to see what you make with it. But off we go to the scanner. Now that I finished this bird painting, I can't wait to get it in the scanner, get it all prepped in the computer for you so that you can download it from JennaDeAngeles.com, where all the files and art from all the shows will be available to you. So give me like 3 minutes, I'll get this all ready, and then you can download the bird image too. I love computers and scanners and downloads and all that stuff. So what I created was our bird image. I added some texture to it and a little bit of background, which is going to really give it depth when it's in the mirror. So I printed 2 copies, and what I want to do is just remove some of the reflective part of the mirror, and then we're going to put the bird on it, and then it'll have a place to rest. So I told my son what I was doing, and he said, "That's great, Mom." He goes, "Mom, I have a joke for you." I was like, "Okay, I'm ready." And he goes, "What's red and bad for your teeth?" "I don't know, Nicholas, what's red and bad for your teeth?" He goes, "A brick." It's like, "That's a good one, honey. Okay." So here we go. This is a bird, and it's red and it's bad for your teeth. What I'm going to do is rip the edge off of this, because I don't want it to look like a box has been stuck on the back of the mirror. So I'm going to rip the edge of this, not even do it perfectly. And I printed it twice so that if I want to add little pieces of the image as it goes up, I can do that too. And also, I'm not going to remove every bit of the reflective surface of the mirror because I want the image to sort of peek through the mirror. So when you look at it, you can still see yourself in the mirror, so it still stays functional, but it's definitely got a bird resting behind the glass. So I'm going to put the bird in the corner, in the lower left-hand corner, which means when the mirror is turned over, it's going to be on the opposite side. So here as I go, I've ripped the edges of the bird paper so it has a rough edge, and then I'm going to want some just extra pieces, which I'm going to pull out this way. Maybe just get a little bit of color, and clearly you don't want any white edges. So now I've ripped off the edges of the main image, and then I've also, just off of the second paper, taken off a few extra pieces that I'm going to place around so they can peek through the reflective side. Now I need to prep the mirror for the decoupaging on of the image. This is the back of a mirror. Now this one's all dusty and dirty because it's 100 years old, but a mirror is nothing more than glass with a perfectly applied reflective surface paint on the back, and then it's cooked on there, which is called powder coating. So what we're going to do is remove this fantastic old powder coating so that we get this really rough image. So if I want the image on this side of the mirror in the lower left-hand corner, when it's laying flat on its side, I'm going to have to put the bird up here. Okay, so let's get started. You might want to wear gloves for this. I'm tough, so I won't. 220 grit and then 100 grit. The lower the number, the rougher the sandpaper. So just take a piece of the sandpaper, fold it into thirds, and begin to scrape off that reflective image. And it's already coming off. It's not really hard to do, but it's definitely dirty. So I told my son, after he told me the brick joke, that it wasn't a joke because it's not funny, but it's not a joke because it doesn't make any sense. And he said, Mom, it's called an unjoke. They're really in fashion. Okay, an unjoke. Just something to know for the socially inept, or if you have a teenager, which automatically makes you socially inept. Now you're in, but shh, don't tell them. So as you can see, the reflective edge is beginning to come off of this beautiful old mirror. And then it just becomes glass. So I'm going to keep doing this till just the right amount of mirror is gone. And then we'll decoupage the image on. So I'm really taking off a lot of that reflective surface. You can leave as much as you want on there and continually check your progress as you go. You can remove completely all of the mirror and have your image come completely through, or you can leave it sort of a little bit on and off, which gives it a really impressionistic feel when you apply the image behind it. So basically you're putting a little bit of a mesh or a little bit of texture in front of it. I'm going to go for half-half. Make sure that you keep your strokes all in one direction because it scratches the glass a little bit as it goes, which is what gives it that old feeling, and you don't want scratch marks going every which way. Breaking a sweat here. You can't really make a mistake. You're going to learn as you go. And just keep removing that reflective part. Then what you do is, you sort of eyeball it. Where's the bird going to go? How does it fit on there? Oh, that's looking cool. All right, a little bit more and we'll be ready to decoupage. All right, now your surface is ready to clean and to decoupage on your bird. Did you come up with a name yet? Come on, let me know. There's Pinterest and Facebook and email. So now with a used to be very clean white cloth, we're now cleaning off all that old paint. If you don't have a 100-year-old mirror just hanging out in your new house, you can use a brand new one. You can use one that you've had for years, you're bored of it, you want to give it a little new life, but you can still clean off that back of it using your sandpaper and download my art from my website. And let's give this a whirl. Okay, it's all clean now. And then in placing the bird, I want to make sure that it's going from the bottom of the mirror flying up. So that's how I'm going to place the bird. This is too big, so now I'm just going to rip off a little bit of that. And I'm going to check it from the other side just to make sure that my placement is pretty good. Now I've got the proper placement for my bird, and I'm going to lay the mirror down without shifting places, open up my decoupage, and pick a brush. I'm going to go small in the beginning. Just lift up this image so I get it properly placed so we can see the bird's beak. Cover the entire glass area with decoupage, a nice thin even coat, and make it bigger than the paper area if you want, because we're going to put those extra little pieces that we ripped off earlier. So nice long brush strokes. You don't want bubbles. So when you place it down, push your artwork flat from the center going out. And that'll dry on there really beautifully. He's gonna love this. Doesn't know I'm doing this. Now don't freak out if it bubbles for a minute. The paper's just expanding because it's absorbing the water and the decoupage, and it'll flatten right down, and you're gonna keep helping it flatten down by pushing those bubbles out. So as you can see, the main piece has been decoupaged on, and it's only been a minute or two, so there's a little bit of air bubbling. They'll go away. Just be patient as the glue gets tacky. And while that's getting tacky, I'm going to place a couple of those other little strips that we pulled off. And when you're using those extra pieces, let them run all the way into the mirror part, the reflective surface, so that you get this really smooth transition from your art to the mirror. There are a lot of elements to this project. There's the paper and the mirror and the brushes, the decoupage, the silver pigment. Go to my website. We've got an entire list of everything that you need. It's all available there, including the downloads for you to use. So here's the silver pigment. And basically how I use it is I just tap it very lightly onto the back of the mirror. And then I'm going to take the decoupage, it's absolutely fine, just mix it all together and just lay it down. The reason that I'm putting the silver pigment on there is because I want a little bit of reflective texture, but not necessarily because I don't want you to see the wall directly behind the mirror. So I'm adding a little bit of the silver pigment and mixed with the decoupage to kind of cover up what I took away. Now I'm going to let this dry for 15 to 20 minutes and we'll see how it turns out. We have now decoupaged our fantastic bird onto the back of that old mirror that we removed the reflective part from. Now that the decoupage has dried, all you need to do is take a good old sharp knife and trim any edges that might be on the mirror right next to it. So now you've got your perfect square and you're ready to do one last pass of a lot of decoupage and to lay on a piece of black felt. Not only will it protect the image that you put on there, but it's going to protect this mirror for years to come. Now you're going to take the piece of felt that we've cut to the size of the mirror and just lay it over the back of the mirror, and it'll stretch right over your image. Flatten it out nicely. If you have any really bad non-jokes, email them to me, because I want to be in the know. All right, the great reveal. You guys want to see it? This is going to be awesome. Oh, it's phenomenal. So as I reflect on how much I love my son and how much he wanted to turn this funky old mirror into a piece of art, I think I might have succeeded, because now we've got something that is not only beautiful and reflective, but looks terrific. My name is Jenna. Thanks for watching.
What's your green wish? Find out more at greenwish.com.